Nothing, a word so simple, yet so infinite in its implications. It is a concept that has haunted human thought for millennia, stretching the limits of philosophy, science, and imagination. Nothingness is paradoxical. To even think about it is to fill it with something. It is the void between stars, the silence between heartbeats, the darkness behind closed eyes. It is the absence of sound, of movement, of matter. But does true nothingness exist anywhere in the universe? Imagine a place devoid of everything. No light, no particles, no space, no time. Can you even picture it? The very act of trying to visualize nothing creates something in your mind, an image, a sensation, a representation. The moment we attempt to grasp nothing, it slips away, replaced by something. And yet, throughout history, humanity has searched for nothing, sought to understand it, define it, measure it. Scientists try to create the perfect vacuum, philosophers meditate on the void, and artists depict emptiness in ways that paradoxically make it feel full. In space, there are vast stretches of nothingness, regions where not a single atom exists for millions of light years. But even there, nothing is not truly nothing. Space itself is something. It stretches, it bends, it expands. The vacuum is never truly empty because the laws of quantum mechanics tell us that even in the most perfect void, particles flicker in and out of existence. Virtual particles appearing for the briefest fraction of a second, then vanishing again, constantly fill what we once thought was pure emptiness. What about the universe before the universe? Was there nothing? Before the Big Bang, what existed? Was it an infinite void? A timeless expanse of absolute nothingness? Or was there something beyond our comprehension, something that gave birth to everything we know? The problem with nothing is that it is not stable. Even the most perfect vacuum can give rise to energy, to matter, to the universe itself. Some theories suggest that our cosmos was born from a quantum fluctuation, a tiny blip in an otherwise empty void. But if that is true, then nothing has never existed. Not truly. Nothingness is not just a physical mystery, it is an existential one. What does it mean for a person to experience nothing? To be nothing? Before you were born, there was no you, but was that nothingness? When you close your eyes, when you fall into dreamless sleep, where do you go? Is that a taste of nothingness? And what about death? Is that the final return to nothing, or merely another transformation, another step in an endless cycle of something becoming something else? Religions and philosophies have wrestled with the concept of nothingness for thousands of years. In Buddhism, the idea of emptiness, sunyata, is not about the absence of existence, but the absence of fixed, unchanging essence. Everything is impermanent, everything is in flux, and therefore nothing is truly itself forever. In existentialist thought, nothingness is both terrifying and liberating. If life has no inherent meaning, if existence is built upon nothing, then we are free to create our own purpose, to fill the void with whatever we choose. But what about science? Can we truly create nothing? The Large Hadron Collider smashes particles together at nearly the speed of light, revealing deeper and deeper layers of reality, but never uncovering true emptiness. Even in the coldest, most absolute vacuum, even in the farthest reaches of intergalactic space, something is always there. Radiation from the Big Bang, the pull of gravity, the subtle hum of the universe itself. And then, there is the greatest mystery of all, the nothingness that is not nothing but everything, dark energy, the force pushing the universe apart, accelerating its expansion, driving galaxies away from one another at ever-increasing speeds. We cannot see it, we cannot touch it, we barely understand it, and yet it makes up most of the cosmos. If the vast majority of reality is made of something we cannot perceive, then what does that say about our understanding of nothing? The deeper we go, the less we know. The more we explore nothingness, the more we realize it does not exist, or if it does, it is beyond our comprehension, forever out of reach. Maybe nothing is just a concept, a hole in our language, a blind spot in our thinking, a placeholder for the limits of human understanding. But if nothing is impossible, then everything is inevitable. If the void is never truly empty, then existence is all there is, all there ever was, all there ever will be. Even in the void there is movement. Even in silence there is thought. Even in death there is the echo of life. And so the search for nothing continues. In the cold depths of space, in the equations of physics, in the quiet moments of solitude, we chase the absence that is never truly absent. We reach for the void only to find it filled with the echoes of reality itself. The pursuit of nothing is a paradox in itself. We are drawn to it, fascinated by its implications, yet we are incapable of truly experiencing it. The human mind is wired to find patterns, to seek meaning, to fill empty spaces with thought and imagination. Even when we stare into the abyss of nothingness, our consciousness projects onto it, making it something. The void is never truly empty because our perception alone gives it substance. Consider the silence between sounds. A pause in music is not truly nothing. It is an anticipation, a moment of tension before the next note. It has weight, meaning a presence of its own. The same is true of darkness. In the absence of light, our eyes struggle, our minds reach for shapes, our brains invent phantoms where none exist. We are creatures of experience, and to us, even the lack of something becomes something. But what if we could experience absolute nothingness? Would it be peaceful, terrifying? Would it be anything at all? If you were placed in a perfect sensory deprivation chamber, no light, no sound, no touch, no external input, your mind would rebel. Studies have shown that when deprived of sensory information, the brain does not settle into nothingness. Instead, it begins to generate its own stimuli. Hallucinations arise, disorientation sets in. The mind refuses to accept nothing. It creates something from the void. This tells us something profound. Nothingness is unnatural to us. We are beings of existence, and existence abhors nothingness. This is reflected in the very structure of reality. The laws of physics do not allow for true nothingness. Even in the deepest vacuum, there is energy, activity, structure. The cosmic background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang, permeates every corner of space. The fabric of reality itself is a dynamic, ever-changing entity. And yet, despite our inability to grasp true nothingness, we fear it. The idea of non-existence, of slipping into nothing, is one of humanity's oldest and deepest anxieties. Every culture, every civilization has grappled with this fear, creating myths and beliefs to counter it. The afterlife, reincarnation, the eternal soul, all of these are ways of denying nothingness, of asserting that existence does not end, that something continues beyond the veil. But what if nothingness is not something to fear? Some philosophies suggest that nothingness is not an end, but a liberation. In Buddhist thought, the concept of nirvana is often described as the extinguishing of the self, the dissolution of the illusion of individuality. It is not death, not oblivion, but a release from the suffering that comes with attachment to existence. In this view, nothingness is not a void, but a return to the source, a merging with the greater whole. Science, too, is beginning to see nothingness not as an end, but as a beginning. The very idea that our universe could have emerged from nothing, through quantum fluctuations, through processes we barely understand, suggests that nothing is not an absence, but a state of potential, a field of infinite possibilities. If something can arise from nothing once, why not again? Perhaps universes are constantly being born from the void, bubbling up from the quantum foam, each new cosmos an answer to the question, what comes after nothing? And if this is true, then nothingness is never truly empty. It is the silence before the symphony, the stillness before creation. It is not the absence of existence, but the fertile ground from which existence emerges. The void is not dead. It is alive with possibility. Yet even knowing this, we are still haunted by nothingness. The thought of it lingers in the background of our lives, a shadow that follows us through time. We push it away, distract ourselves with noise and light and motion, but it remains, waiting. Every pause, every gap, every moment of silence reminds us of it. It is in the spaces between words, in the darkness between stars, in the quiet hours of the night when the world is still and the mind is left alone with itself. What, then, is the true nature of nothing? Is it an illusion, a mistake of language and perception? Is it the most fundamental reality, the backdrop against which all existence plays out? Or is it something stranger still, something we cannot yet comprehend, something that lies beyond the reach of our understanding? Perhaps the answer does not matter. Perhaps what matters is the pursuit itself, the questions we ask, the ideas we explore. In seeking nothing, we discover everything. In chasing the void, we find meaning, and in the end, that may be the greatest paradox of all. But still, the question lingers. What is nothing, and does it exist at all?